because you know people are going to people. But when you're the one that is sabotaging your destiny, that is the bigger problem. Welcome to the Third Quarter Podcast. I'm your host, Ace, and you know I am blessed by the best, but better than that, so are you. And I know I've said this before. I know I've said this in previous pods, that pod was going to be one of them ones, all right? But this one right here is about to be one of them ones, one of them ones. We're talking about boundaries today. Yeah, we're talking about boundaries. I know this is a hot topic. I know everyone's saying that I got to have my boundaries up. And what I want to address is not just boundaries with other people. I'm going to get into it, okay? But before we get into it, if you haven't done yet, please subscribe to the podcast so you are always notified whenever a new episode drops. And if this podcast has served you in any type of way, present or past, and you haven't done so yet, please leave us a review and rate us. It'll be greatly appreciated. Now let's dive into it. Boundaries. What is a boundary? What are boundaries? Sometimes I feel like because everybody says stuff, we just say that we need it because everyone else is saying it. I need boundaries. I need boundaries. Having boundaries is like when people say, I need to cut them off. I need to cut people off. I need to remove this person. This person's toxic. I have too many toxic people in my life. And I've had, multiple podcast episodes that talks about removing yourself from toxic attachments and removing toxic people to protect your energy, right? So I'm all for that. You know that. I'm all for boundaries. You know that. But I want to flip the script a little bit and kind of give you a different perspective on boundaries. But before we get into that, I want to read to you the definition of boundary based on the Oxford Dictionary, okay? So, according to Oxford, a boundary is a line that marks the limits of an area and a dividing line, a limit of a subject or sphere of activity, okay? So that's what Oxford says a boundary is. So basically, a boundary, to give you a visual aspect of it, it's a line that you draw in the sand. So think that you are standing in the sand and you draw a big old line that goes across, and you're telling people that everything behind this line, we're good. We're good. Like, you can roam free, you can do whatever you want behind that line, but everything that is where that line is, to me, is off limits. So a boundary is a establishment of the difference between public and private. All right. So when you go to a very affluent neighborhood with a lot of expensive homes like Beverly Hills, for an example, or Brentwood, or even Sherman Oaks and places like that, you're going to see big homes with a gate around it. Now, the gate is not to protect the house. Okay? No one's stealing doors and windows. So the gate is not a boundary to stop people from stealing doorknobs and garage doors. The gate is there to protect the home, the inside of the house, the private stuff, the stuff that belongs to the person that lives in the home, the peace. That is what the gate is doing. The gate is the boundary to protect the home, not the house. So when you're putting a boundary in your life, you're telling people that everything that's behind this line is where my peace resides. And so crossing this line is an act of trespassing. You're trespassing now. And so it's important to establish these lines when necessary to protect your peace. Okay? So now we're clear on what a boundary is. Let me take it here. And this is where I want this podcast to go into. And at the very end of this, I'm going to ask you some questions and kind of give you some things to ponder to see where your boundaries are and where they should be. one of probably the most common messages I get on social media is about toxic relationships, how to remove toxic people from your life. And I've had multiple episodes now where I talk about that. So I'm all for protecting yourself from toxicity. I'm all for boundaries. But this is the question that I have that I want to propose to you. If you're listening to this right now and you know that you have to establish boundaries around people, just like when people say, I got to remove this person, I got a lot of toxic people around me. My question is this. Is the answer I need to have more boundaries around people? Or is the answer I need to have a boundary around myself? Because if you continually have toxic people or friendships or relationships that are doing more harm than good, my question is why do they feel that they can continually trespass whenever they feel like it? Why do they feel like when they drive up to your house, the gate is always open? There is no security access. There is no buzzing and asking permission to come in. Why do they feel like they can just freely just roam however they please? And I think one of the issues that we have as people is we're always quick to say what we need to do in response to what other people are doing to us, but we're slow to say what we need to do to ourselves and for ourselves to protect ourselves from ourselves. Okay? We're so quick to say, I need to put a boundary around that person or I need to remove that person from my life, but we're slow to say, I need to put a boundary around me to stop me from allowing these kind of people in my life. And this is the boundary that I'm referring to. Because at the end of the day, having boundaries around people is great. But if you don't establish the boundary around yourself first, it's going to be difficult for you to establish boundaries around other people because you are still always going to allow them to trespass. So the question that I want to propose to you, the first one is, why do you feel the need to constantly allow certain kind of people to enter your life? What is it that you're giving off that people that you know are not for you, people that you know are not going to be ideally, you guys aren't aligned? Why do they feel like this is a home where they can roam free without consequence? Because in order to establish boundaries around people and put boundaries in front of people, we have to say, okay, why does this constantly keep happening? Why does this person always feel that they can call me? Why does this person always feel like I'm going to respond at all hours of the night? Why does this person always feel like no matter what they ask, I'm always going to give them what they need? Or if I don't have it, I'm going to find it so I can give it to them. Why do they always come to me for this? Why am I always saying yes? And until you answer that question, until you get introspective to the point where you get an understanding of why you're constantly saying yes, then the boundaries that you put out are just temporary. And here's the thing. They know that. They know when you put a boundary around them, oh, it's temporary. Wait a week, maybe 2, 3 tops. They know that. They know that you are dealing with branches and you're not dealing with the root. And they're praying that you think that you're dealing with roots when in reality you're dealing with branches. See, putting a boundary around someone without getting an understanding why you're allowing it, that's a branch. Getting an understanding why you're allowing it and then putting a boundary, that's a root. Now, yes, Maybe you do need to put a boundary around someone while you're figuring it out. But to put a boundary around someone while not getting an understanding, well, it's just a matter of time. So boundaries really can only truly be enforced once the boundary around yourself is put into place first. So I want you to think about this. Why do you feel the need to entertain certain things that you know don't serve you? What are you looking for? Are you looking for validation, acceptance? Do you like feeling the hero? Do you like the attention? Do you like feeling loved? Do you like being the answer to people's problems? Why do people always feel that they can get away with breaking your space? What is it that you're getting from this? Because honestly, a lot of this success that we achieve in life depends on us not self-sabotaging it. When you're getting in the way of you, that's a bigger problem than someone trespassing your space, because you know people are going to people. But when you're the one that is sabotaging your destiny, that is the bigger problem. So you putting a boundary around yourself and getting an idea and an understanding of why you do this, you are cutting out the possibility of you self-sabotaging your destiny. We can't always put the blame on everyone else and react to what everyone else is doing, because ultimately we don't have control over them. And here's the thing too, even when you get an understanding of your personal boundary and why you're doing it, you're still going to have people that are going to want to trespass. But the difference is when they start to trespass, you're going to be quick to cut them off. You're not giving them a second chance. Once one person steals something, it's a wrap. Once one person violates, it's a wrap. Why? Because when you have a boundary in place and they still cross it while knowing the boundary, they don't care about you. They care about what you can give them. The whole reason why someone robs a house is because they want something that you have that's going to benefit them in some type of way. They don't care about your home. They don't care about disrupting your peace. They don't care about the kids that are asleep. They don't care about scaring you. They care about getting something from your home that they don't have. You don't see people that have more go into a home to steal something from someone that has less. You don't really see that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but that's not regularly what you see. When you have peace, when you have something going on, people want that. Because they don't want to do the work and they don't want to put in the time to do it for themselves, so they want to rob you of your peace. They're bringing drama in your life. They're bringing gossip in your life. They're always looking for you to give them advice, and they're never going to take it, because really what they enjoy more than advice is disrupting you. And until you get clear on why you're always answering the phone, why you're always answering the text, why you're always picking them up from the airport, why you're always giving them money, why you're always spending time hearing about the things that they're never going to change. Until you do, any boundary that you put in place, they're going to continue to trespass without consequence. So setting boundaries are fantastic, but they only truly work when you know why you need to put the boundary there in the first place. And it starts with you putting a boundary around you first. All right. So I want to ask you another question. So we know that you have to put boundaries around people, right? And we know we got to put a boundary around you. The next question I want to ask is, what is it that you feel that giving people the attention and giving people what it is that they're looking for from you, why does that give you so much joy and fulfillment? Why? Why do you like coming to people's aid? Why do you enjoy overextending yourself to make someone happy when you yourself are suffering and is draining you? Why do you like that? Now, of course, there are going to be times and seasons of sacrifice, but why is this such a regular occurrence? There needs to be a boundary there to stop you from trying to save other people while you're drowning. You have so much going on. You got so much to look forward to. You have a lot to accomplish in this world. And you have your own race to finish. So think of it like this. If you're in a lake, in an ocean, and you're swimming and you're swimming and you're swimming and you're running your race, and you got enough strength, you got enough skill, you got enough talent to swim on your side of the pool, because everyone's lane has different waves, has different temperatures, has different hurdles and adversities in their own personal lane in the pool. And if you spend so much time trying to save people in their lane, at some point you're going to be the one drowning while they're afloat. You have got to swim your race. You only have enough energy and effort and ability to do what you're called to do. So why is it okay for you? Why do you feel you're obligated to help everybody else and prevent them from drowning, and then you end up drowning yourself? You cannot save everybody. It's not that you don't care. But what good are you to this world if you're drained and tired? What good are you to your family, to your community, if you're constantly drained and tired because you're swimming everyone else's race? Some people have to learn to swim by preventing their own selves from drowning. And I know this kind of sounds, man, Ace, this is mean. Maybe. It always sounds mean to the ones that are doing it. You are currently in that situation right now, so it sounds bad. But for the people that know, they're like, he is not lying. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not lying. Because my natural instinct is to help people swim. But there's a difference between helping people swim and swimming for them. You have got to put a boundary around yourself to prevent you from swimming for people. You're swimming their laps and then you're jumping back on your side and thinking you got the energy to do yours, and you don't. And here's the thing. I got to put a boundary around this person because this person wants me to swim for them. But guess what? You crossed your own boundary because you ain't got one. You went in someone else's lane because you don't have a boundary around you to prevent you from doing that. So what does it matter that this person has a boundary? They didn't come over to you. You went to them. See, that's the part that kills me, is the boundary, right, that you put on people is to prevent them from coming to you. The issue is you keep going to them and then complaining that you need boundaries around them. No, you need a boundary around yourself to stop you from going over there. You can control that. You can't control someone trespassing on your property. You can control you trespassing onto someone else's. And I'm going to say this too. You constantly trespassing onto other people's lives to be God in their life is preventing God to move in theirs. So even when you think you're doing a good thing and your heart's in the right place, you may be doing the wrong thing. Because you've conditioned people, family, friends, significant others, that no matter what they do, you are always going to be there. You've conditioned them to rely on you and not to rely on them and God. You got to create this boundary so you stay in your lane. We got to stop complaining and saying, I need boundaries. I need to cut this person out of my life because why does this person always feel like they have access to you? Why are they always in your house? Why are they always on the phone with you? They're not answering the phone for you. You're answering it on your own. But then you hang up after being on the phone with them for an hour and 45 minutes when you were supposed to go to the gym, right? And now you don't want to go. So now what do? You're emotionally drained. So now you go eat something that makes you feel good. So now you spent this whole day drained and deviated from what's best for you, all because you picked up the phone. You didn't have to do that. So the point of this episode is to help communicate to you that the answer isn't always what you need to do for other people in terms of cutting them off and putting boundaries. Sometimes the answer is, what do I need to do to me? Because this ain't working. Why do I always find myself dating the same kind of person? Why does this person in my family always feel like they can just dump all their drama? Why do they always feel like they can just drop their kids off? Why do they always feel that they can do that? Like, why do they feel like they can just drop kids off and not ask first? Why do they feel like they can just call me whenever they got a problem and expect me to listen? Why do they always feel that way? That's not cool. That's not cool for someone to take your peace so they can take your energy and go about their day, and you're left thinking about, if you're going to bed thinking about someone else's problem more than them, that's a problem. That's a problem. And it's all because you don't have a boundary around yourself. And you're going in everyone else's lane. Oh, I got this idea for them. Oh, if only they would do that. If only if they would just, if only if they were just, if only. You ain't them. And if that's the life that they want to live, as much as it hurts you, that's their life. But you cannot be worried about what they should do or if they only would when it's taken away from what you should be doing for you. Because if you're thinking about what they should be doing for them, that means you're not thinking about what you should be doing for you. Am I preaching or am I preaching? So I want to leave you with this. I want you to think about this. Okay? I want you to think about this. I asked you earlier, what is it that you're getting from this? What is it that you're getting from always coming to people's rescue? What are you getting from always saying yes? What are you getting from always answering the phone and answering the text message? What is that feeling that you're getting? And once you identify what that is, I want you to do that and be that for yourself. So you're not relying on getting that from other people, but you're getting it from you. Maybe you need to start taking yourself out on dates. Maybe you need to start brainstorming for that business. Maybe you need to take a staycation. Maybe you need to do some things for you so that feeling that you get from other people of you jumping in other people's lives and trying to fix it, you're giving that attention to yourself. And then when you start to fill your own cup, see, here's the thing, and I'm going to end with this. most of the time, we're trying to help people because we think that helping them and saving them is going to fill our cup up. No, it's going to drain the cup out. But when you take all that time and attention, right, when you put that boundary in place and you got boundaries around them, and now you're putting all this energy and focus and you're filling yourself up, you now can help people from a distance from your overflow. You don't even need to get close to them. Your overflow is just going to seep over to their land. It's just going to seep over to their lane. If you focus on giving to yourself and having a cup of overflow, you won't need to trespass. Your blessing is going to trespass. Okay. Your blessing is going to trespass onto their land. You won't even need to deal with it. You won't even need to have your energy drained. You're going to be living in so much overflow that your overflow is just going to flow on over to them. But you can't have the overflow if you're constantly living a life being drained because you're always in everybody else's business. Stay out of it. Put the boundary around yourself. Get an understanding of what it is you're looking for and why you always feel the need to do that. And then give that to yourself and start to build overflow and fill your cup up and let your overflow help people. You want to give from a place of overflow, not from a place of depletion. Because I promise you, when you focus on putting the boundaries around you to prevent you from trespassing into everyone else's life, and you put that attention that you normally would try to put in everyone else, and you put it into you, and you start filling your cup up and living from a life of overflow, you're going to start being a blessing without even trying because your overflow is just going to be touching everyone that moves. But you can't get an overflow if you don't have a boundary around yourself. Protect your home from you. The greatest distraction and the greatest disruptor of your peace is not people, it's you. And once you put a boundary around you, everything that you want to accomplish will start to flow to you. That's all I got for you today. I hope this episode blessed you. I hope it helped you. If someone came to mind, please share it. And remember to always subscribe to the podcast if you haven't, so you are always notified when a new one drops. And whenever you get time, preferably right now, give us a kind review and rate us. It helps us out more than you know. I love you so much. Be safe, be blessed. And thank you for listening to the Third Quarter Podcast.